Howdly doodly do, citizens of the nerdy world. Do not press that button or that pause button because welcome back to the fashionably late review of Deathloop. We are always fashionably late, but we still have some words about games. I am your host, not gonna stick in this voice at all,
I was gonna
but
say.
David, Mark, Rudy, the glorious one, and joining me as always, my fabulous co-host, the glorious Amy Kate Alexander.
Yeah. I just want to do the thing again in case like anyone didn't see the other video, which might not even come out first. Shit everywhere in the background, don't worry about it. I'm in mid renovation. I've stopped to record and then afterwards I'm gonna keep going. This is a break for me.
This is a break for you indeed, Amy. Was Deathloop the break that you wanted?
You know, I had an interesting experience with this game.
General information for Deathloop, everyone, it is available on PC and the PlayStation 5. What? It released on September 14th, 2021, developed by Arcane Studios, published by Bethesda Studios, and genre is action, adventure, and first-person shooter. The description is Deathloop is the next-gen first-person shooter, blah, 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 we ignore that part. In Deathloop, two rival assassins are trapped in a mysterious time loop on an island of Black Reef, doomed to repeat the same day for eternity. As Cult, the only chance to escape is the end of the... to end the cycle by assassinating 8 key targets before the day resets. Learn from each cycle, try new paths, gather intel, and find new weapons and abilities. Do whatever it takes to break the loop.
Break the loop.
Amy, did Deathloop break your loop?
Break my loop?
I don't know. I was trying to be smart.
I did break the loop. I did break the loop. I was almost going to say something that spoilers for the very end of the game. I did break the loop. There's 3 endings. That's all I'm going to say.
3 endings. Did you enjoy your ending?
Yeah, I did actually. It was really, really nice. It was quite like considering the game itself. The ending was quite cute, actually. So
fabulous. Amy, did you enjoy Deathloop?
I did. It took a while to get there, as you know from private messages, and we'll get into it because I want to tell my story. But it took me a while to get there, to the part where I was enjoying the game, because I had a very interesting first 5-6 hours of the game.
Going off on your texts, yes.
Yeah, something like that, and then like the next 10 after that, which was like me giving the game one more chance to not be like weird with me.
Yes. You text me saying, I think I'm done with Deathloop. And I went, all right, no worries. And I went to bed. I woke up the next day. You weren't done with Deathloop. You woke up telling me you completed
I finished Deathloop. It's literally right. Like, I can't show you the text, but basically, it was like, I'm done with this. That was in the afternoon. And then I think you must have gone to bed earlier that day, and I sent you a picture message where it's like, I lied. And it's just me with the PlayStation controller and Deathloop on the screen. And then you got another text like 4 a.m. Completed it, mate.
Yes, you did, Amy. You did indeed. Deathloop has been one of your most anticipated games of this year, if I remember rightly.
Last year.
You basically when you saw this, you were like, yes, now that is something I love. You've always enjoyed Arcane Studio games, and they were Dishonored, I believe. Dishonored 1 and 2.
Yeah, Dishonored 1, Dishonored 2, Prey. All the games. Mostly Dishonored. Dishonored 1 and 2. Like, far and away some of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah. So, Deathloop.
It's up there.
Tell us about it.
It's up there with the Dishonored games. Like
high bar.
Yeah. It was a high bar, and it met the bar. I don't know if it cleared the bar, but it certainly met the bar. But it was a slog to get there. Like, what do you want to know first? The
main element is obviously the time loop element. Does that work in a good, coherent way?
Yeah, definitely. So, like, when you start, you start the game, right? And you press start, and you start the game. And Colt is being stabbed to death by Juliana. So Colt is the player character, and Juliana is the other assassin. And she's yelling at you to remember, like, what's going on as she's stabbing you, and then you wake up on the beach. So it's a really good start. I thought it was a funny start for a time loop game to just start like, well, it's a time loop game. Well, you loop when you die, so let's have you die at the very beginning, and then the loop
So it's Mass
starts.
Effect 2 then.
Not quite the emotional gut punch. It's more just funny, but yeah, like it's you. So you got 4 time periods. You got morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. And like each one of those time periods, so you've got like 4 goes at the day, right? And there's also
Yes.
4 areas of Black Reef, so there's 4 maps. And what you have to do to break the loop is at first you have to figure out what the fuck's going on, right? That's like the first sort of few hours of the game. You have to figure out how you even like go about breaking the loop, what you have to do, how you then do it, and then the next part, the middle part of the game, which for me was like the best part of the game, was you have to follow leads where basically to break the loop you have to kill the 8 visionaries, who are like the people that run shit, right? You have to kill them all in one day. You've got 4 time periods, right? So you got 4 goes and you got 8 visionaries. So you can already see that math's wonky and you can't do it, right? So you have to then figure out how to maneuver the visionaries around so that you can kill them all in one day. And that's sort of like the middle part of the game. And then once you do that, you do the end, where it's like, cool, you've learned everything you need to learn. You've got weapons and you've got your upgrades and your slabs and your powers and everything, and you're ready to go. And now you just got to put it into action. So you've got to do it all. You got to go through it and do it and basically do a day perfectly, not perfectly, as close to perfectly as possible, and kill them all. And then that's it. You break the loop. You can also play as Juliana. You can also just invade other players' games and kill them. And it's really funny.
Does that work really seamlessly?
It does. So like you'll just be going around. And this happens. You can play the game in offline mode. It happens in that as well. Like it's just an AI controlled. Juliana will sometimes pop up, and it's like, yeah, it comes up. Juliana is on the hunt. Like all of a sudden when you're doing something, and then it's like, oh shit, like someone's coming to fucking kill me. So then like, you're dealing with the level and the enemies in the level, but also there's someone out there who's going to try and kill you, which is a really interesting feeling, And then you can't like escape into the tunnels because like you navigate between time periods through the tunnels. The tunnels get locked, so you can't just run away. It's really cool. It's really cool, like to know that's another player, and all of a sudden I'm fighting against another player. I think is really cool, and like to be on that end, to be like suddenly just jumping into someone else's game and just being like, all right, and like I'm gonna take some fucking frustration out on you now. Sorry, mate, but I'm gonna fuck you up. It's pretty funny.
Very, very good. How's the first-person shooter gameplay? Gameplay is obviously the biggest thing for a lot of people these days.
It isn't a game like this.
Yeah,
like we've spent a lot of time in the past couple of months playing like very story-heavy, story-driven games. And Deathloop has story, it has characters, it has like dialogue and all that stuff. But like the gameplay is like pretty critical to the game, unlike a lot of other games that we've played recently. I gotta say, Moody, I looked it up. Like I hadn't played a shooter in like 4 months before I played Deathloop, and when I started playing Deathloop, I was bad at it. Like it's like I had lost all like my motor functions. So it took me a little while to get into it, but like it's very Dishonored like in the way that you sort of move around the level. There's not as much of an emphasis on stealth. There is sort of in the beginning parts of the game. So like one of the guns that you can find is a nail gun, which you charge up to like you hold the trigger down to charge it up, and then you shoot and it fires silently. And that's sort of like your main sort of stealth weapon. And you will be doing stealth for a bit towards sort of like the first part of the game. But as you start getting upgrades and Cold starts getting more powerful and you start getting more powerful guns, stealth starts becoming less of a necessity. So you just start killing everyone with shotguns that fire exploding bullets or whatever. That was my go-to weapon. I got that weapon. I was so lucky. I got that weapon off of Juliana that invaded me in the very early part of the game, and it was it was so good that I used it for the entire rest of the game. It was a
You found
shotgun.
your niche.
It was a shotgun, but it fired exploding rounds, so you could use it at long range because the explosion would just kill people anyway. So it was like a shotgun. You
Nice.
could also use it as a sniper rifle. It's brilliant. But yeah, like the shooting is really cool, really tight. Like the weapons that you can find. There's not that many different types of weapons. I think there was only like 4 or 5 different like types of weapons, plus the nail gun I mentioned. Plus you get a machete, so you can do melee as well. But like all like once you start getting like rare, because the weapons have rarities, like they do in like an online game, where it's like you can get like blue weapons, purple weapons, and gold weapons, and not only can you get trinkets that you can slot in that'll like upgrade the weapons in some way, but weapons have special perks when they're rare. So, for example, the shotgun that fires exploding bullets, or you could pick up a pistol that's silenced, which is really helpful again for stealth because it's a fucking handgun, but it's silenced. Or like I had a submachine gun that I used a lot, which like when it did damage to an enemy, it healed you. So like, although there's not a massive array of weapons, the weapons that are in there are really good and really satisfying to use. And they're also all really different from each other and really good at different things. But they also come with like cool perks that can like you can be running through the game with, you can carry like 3 weapons. You could be running through the game thinking, this is my loadout, I'm totally set, but then you find a gun and it's got this perk on it that's like, ooh, that would be really helpful actually. And then like you can start modifying how you play the game. And on top of that, there's also slabs. They're called slabs. So when you kill a visionary in the game, they have slabs, which are like special abilities. And most visionaries have one. There's a couple that don't. They have other stuff. And when you kill them, you can take the slab. So, for example, the 2 I used for them 95% of the game were Dash and the other one. I don't remember the name, but it's the one where you can you fire a bolt and you can link enemies together.
Yeah.
So if whatever you do to one, you'll do to all of the linked enemies. So it's really cool. Like you link 3 enemies together, you shoot one of them in the head, and all 3 of them die. And I was like, that's so good. It's from Dishonored. it's a power from Dishonored, but like it's such a good power. The other one was Dash that I used, where it's like Blink. You can just like teleport around. But if you keep killing the visionaries and picking their slabs up again in future loops, it gives you upgrades. So you can slot upgrades into these powers to modify how they work or what they do. So, for example, with Dash, it's like you can get something where it's like you can target an enemy and swap positions with them, or you can dash longer, like a longer distance, or you can. You can do a drop kick where if you dash and hit the melee button, you can literally do a fucking super powered flying kick. Stuff like that. So like it's pretty cool. Like you're able to augment them, but like when it all comes together in the gameplay, like it's super satisfying. Like I mentioned at the beginning, like I had a really weird path through the opening of this game where it's like weird stuff was happening and it was making me like enjoy the game less. But the thing that made me stick with it and then eventually like get past that was the fact that just the moment to moment gameplay, like of like going through levels, exploring levels just randomly to see what I could find because there's cool stuff to find, or like getting to a visionary by going through their complex, and stealth, whether it's carrying a turret round and dropping a turret so the turret does all the work, or whether it's just running and gunning, right? It's like it was all awesome. Like it always felt great all the time.
It's fantastic. How's the level design and sound design and everything?
All right, so the level design's really good.
Feel like you didn't expect me to say that, Christian.
No, it's good, it's fine. I realized I forgot to mention because I'm talking about collecting weapons, right? It's like at a certain point in the story, you get the ability to collect something called Residium, which is like a resource that you can use to save things. So like weapons, slabs, trinkets, which give you which are like you can put in your weapons to give you upgrades, or you can slot into like coal to give coal upgrades. So like things like extra health or take less damage, or like some really cool ones. But everything resets at every loop, right? So you lose all that stuff when you reset the loop. But when you start collecting Residium, you can start spending that to save stuff, essentially, so that you always have it.
Yeah.
Hence how you can collect slabs and weapons and whatnot. It's not that difficult to save up enough to collect cool stuff, but you got to remember to do it, otherwise you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose whatever you had.
Lose it all.
Like, I remember getting 2 slab upgrades and thinking these slab upgrades are great, and then I clicked the button to move on to the loop, move on to the next loop, and I was like, I didn't save them. They're gone forever. I have to get them again. But yeah, level design. The level design is really good. There's, like I said before, there's 4 levels, but over 4 different time periods. So like, let's say Up Dam is one of the levels, right? But it changes slightly each time period because different stuff's going on or different stuff has happened like earlier in the day, right? So there's kind of 16 levels, but like it's 4 levels with like differences depending on what time of day you visit them. And they're really cool. There's a lot of cool stuff hidden around them. It's definitely worth sort of like exploring and finding things, but also like there's a lot of different ways you can go through the game, like to different objectives. Like that's one of the cool things that there always was about Dishonored, right? Like you need to go through the Clockwork Mansion, but there's like to get to a specific room in the Clockwork Mansion in Dishonored, but there's like so many different ways you can navigate through the Clockwork Mansion that it feels like it doesn't feel like you're going through a level. It feels like you're like finding your way around a place, right?
Yeah.
And it feels the same in Deathloop. Now, because of the looping that you have to do, because you're essentially looping through the same thing or the same things over and over again, like you do start getting a bit overly familiar with certain levels. Up Dam is a good example of that, where it's just like I was sort of used to it to a point where it was like not annoying, trivial, I'd say. It was like it's almost trivial getting from point A to point B. It was like I had my perfect route planned out. I knew exactly what to do, and I just fucking speed running through, do the thing, and it was getting like I don't want to say it's a repetitive game, even though it's a time loop game. There's been a lot of time loop games this year, but it was starting to feel that way towards the end. So I think the length of the game is probably about right. Because just as I was getting to the point where I was like, man, I've got to go through, like, there's a thing with a power plant where you have to go back to the power plant in the morning 4 times. So you have to keep going through the same bit 4 times. So it was starting to get to a point where I was like, man, I got to go and do this again. Like, like I got it down to a T, getting to this power plant without incident, that the last time I did it, I just got my fucking shotgun out. I just started shooting, and like I called in reinforcements. There was millions of guys coming, and I was just like, at least I feel something. Like I feel alive again. Like this is different. Like it's like everyone in the fucking world is descending on me, and I'm just fucking killing them. I feel like that's what
fun.
I would be like in a time loop, though. I'd be like, I'm fucking sick of this shit. Like, just get a gun out and start shooting in the air. Come and get me, you bastards!
We spoke about gameplay, world design, and sound.
I don't think I mentioned sound, but there's the sound design is really good. The music's good. The weapons and the sound effects are good. The voice acting, especially for Colt and Juliana, because they have a lot of back and forth. Like they have a lot of banter. Obviously, they're trying to kill each other, and it's incredible. Like it's so good. It's next level. Like in terms of like the voice, the vocal performances of Colt and Juliana are just like some of the best I've heard. Oh yeah, like it's really fucking good. But like it goes all the way out to like everything. Like so even when you step on a mine, right, and it blows up, and Colt does the scream, and I don't know how to describe it other than it is the best. Like, I've just stepped on a mine and exploded scream I've ever heard in a video game. Like, I genuinely, like, heard it, like, a lot, because I'm an idiot. And I was literally thinking, like, partway through, I was like, that's it's the best like ow I've hurt myself scream in a video game I've ever heard. I don't know how else to describe it. Like that's how far down the voice acting goes, where it's just like, yeah, the dialogue was good and the way they performed, the actor of Colt performed his role is really good. But also when he screams, when he gets shot, when he blows up, it's like, even that's like best of the best. Like, it's fucking great.
Very, very good. So we had general thoughts, we had gameplay, we've had your story, character a little bit there, world design, sound design. Amy, there's a spot part where we've already spoken about that you were about to stop with this game and then you started again. What didn't work for you?
So I sent you the message, right? Deathloop is a great game that I'm having a terrible experience with. That was the message you got.
Everyone right now, to what I've seen people talk about, this is arguably a lot of people's game of the year.
I mean, I don't know. I have a list, but it's nothing I put too much thought into until the end of the year, so I don't know if it's my game of the year.
I'm not telling you to give a scale rank or anything like that.
I could see what everybody's talking about, right? Because like we obviously we follow millions of fucking game people, right? So like, I'm sure your Twitter timeline was blowing up with fucking Deathloop when Deathloop came out, just like mine was. And everybody's having a great time with the game. And I was like playing for like 5 or 6 hours going, I can see why, because the gameplay is fantastic and this is fantastic, but I am just having such a weird experience with the game that it's really difficult for me to love it. For starters, so I'll tell a story. I don't even know, it has no bearing on my thoughts of the game, because like I said, I played for only 10 hours and I love it, but I'm going to tell a story anyway. Because you asked, because I'm allowed, and because, you know, I own this YouTube channel and no one's found a way to stop me yet. So, yeah, I started the game. I hadn't played a shooter in 4 months. So for the first bit, I was just like, how do I shoot gun? Like, which end of the gun do the bullets come out of? Like, that's how bad I was. Like, I couldn't remember shit about playing first-person shooters. Anyway, got over that hump. And then it's a lot. At first, Deathloop is a lot to take in. Like, because it's not just a straightforward first-person shooter. It's not just Dishonored with guns. Like, there's so many different things going on in the game that, like, even though the first 90 minutes of the game are a tutorial where you're not doing Deathloop as the game advertises itself. It's like you're going through a very heavily scripted sequence of events.
Yeah.
And even going through that, I was like, by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, I don't get it. Like, there's all these different, like, weapons and trinkets and slabs, and there's leads, but there's also, like, leads for arsenal leads, which are, like, you know, you see a crate that you might be able to open at some point, so it drops a thing in your quest log, I guess. So you know to come back later to maybe get a cool gun, and it was just like there was so much going on and so much to figure out, and I was like, this is way less straightforward than Life is Strange, where you point the analog stick forward and occasionally you make some choices. So as I was getting to grips with that, I was also grappling with some really fucking weird shit. Like, I got invaded like 3 times. By like Julianas, who had clearly played way more of the game than I had. Like, they had like all these different abilities, and I didn't even have one. I think I didn't have a slab yet, so I didn't have any special abilities, and these people are fucking blinking all over the place, and there's Havoc, which is a thing where they take less damage and do more damage, and I was just like, I have a gun, like. Pew, pew, pew. Fucking amazing guns. And I was just like, oh, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me here. So that wasn't helping. And then a gun. So I finally figured out how to, like, save stuff. So I was like, cool, I'm going to save stuff. And I killed the Juliana. I took a really good gun, like I mentioned earlier. And then I like, the way you do it is if you see a gun that's really good, you can pick it up, like, swap it with a gun that you've already saved. So you won't be able to use that gun for the rest of this loop, but, you know, it'll reappear at the beginning of the next one. So it's a way to collect more guns, right? and then just have like a good selection. But what happened was I picked the gun up, and then I got back to the tunnel, and then like the gun was gone. Like I had a gap in my inventory where this gun was supposed to be, and I was like, I've just lost the gun that I picked up, but also I don't have the gun that I had before. Shit, what do I do? So I had to like skip the rest of the day, reset the loop, and found that the gun was still there. And I was like, oh my god, thank God. Because if I'd have lost that gun, I would have lost my shit. It was far and away the best gun ever. Then I was doing a power plant, which is like the visionary lead. And I'd been there for an hour doing all this stealth stuff and plugging things into power things, and then I was trying to get a battery to put in a generator, and you can take batteries out of turrets. And there was a turret at the other end, and there was even a voice line that said, "Oh, there's a free battery," you know. So it was like, "Go get the battery out of the turret," right? And I got the turret, and the prompt it didn't come up to get the battery out, and I was like, "Oh shit, what do I do? Oh, I think I left a battery further back. I'll just run back and get that." So I ran back to get that battery, and then I accidentally interacted with something, and then a tutorial pop-up came on, and it wouldn't close. So it's like the tutorial pop-up was on the screen, and I put a video of this on Twitter because I was like, I'm not going crazy. This is actually happening. And it was like I was still controlling the character, but there was a massive pop-up in the middle of the screen, and nothing I did got rid of it.
Yeah.
I tried killing myself, and it didn't get rid of it. I threw myself into some water, and it was like, nope, still there. I was like,
not today.
So I had to close the game down, and then it was like, oh, you've lost all your progress for that time period. I was like, fucking great. That's an hour of progress. Like I've just lost because the game fucking broke. And at one point, all the leads disappeared. So I was like, oh no, I literally don't know where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do. So I spent a good hour of my time like intermittently trying to fix that and just running around hoping I accidentally stumbled upon a lead, which isn't a great way to play a Deathloop. So like it had all of this compounding, and then the part where I sent you the message where I was like, I'm out, I'm done. I'd finally got the leads to work. I'd gone, and there's one in this really cool level where this guy has basically turned an island into like a live action D&D game with like monsters, and it's like in outer space and stuff. And I was like, this is such a cool level, and I'm fighting my way through it. And there's this AI voice bot thing that's doing narration as I'm going through, as if I'm like the invader, the invading player and stuff. And it's so fucking awesome. And then I got to the end, and then there's Visionary. I broke into his house. I killed him. And I was like, cool. Like, I've done the thing. I've done it. But I hadn't interacted with the picture. There's a picture in his room you have to interact with to trigger the next lead. I found this out because I started using a guide. Because I had to. Like, for a bit of time, I just had to use a guide to find the fun. I stopped after a bit. But I forgot to interact with the picture. But I killed the guy and started leaving. And then I realized the lead hadn't updated. And I was like, shit. And I looked it up. And I was like, you have to go back. So I was like, oh, I have to go back. Shit. Well, I'll just go back. Like, because everybody's dead. So I can just walk back in. I can find the picture. I can poke it. And then we can get on with it. And so Colt has the slab that he starts every loop with, where you get 2 lives. So if you die, you don't immediately reset the loop. You get like a couple of goes. But I'd used all my lives, right? Like fighting to kill this visionary Charlie. And I had like very little health left, but I was like, if I could just poke this picture, it doesn't matter, because then I can continue with this lead.
Yeah.
And then as I turned around to go back, Juliana's on the hunt, and I can hear her and she's like on the radio, Colt. And I was like, no, not now, not now. And I thought, if I just run into this nearby building, and I can get the proximity charges, and I can just put them on the doors and hide until she comes looking for me. And I crouch walked into this building, and I got to the top of the stairs, and she was just right there. And this player, who was probably invading me, going, oh, I can't wait to have a really good fight, have a really good fight against Colt, just went, huh. And I was dead. The loop reset. And I was like, I have to do the thing again. I have to do the whole fucking thing again. And that was when I texted you and I was like, I'm done. And I'd walked away. I'd like gone, done other things. And it sat with me for a few hours and I was like, okay, like now that I'm over my tantrum, which is what it was. I was having a tantrum with the game. I went, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna get through it. And from that point on, it was smooth sailing. But like it was touch and go for a minute there, where I was like, there was many points in it where like because of my own weird personal experience with the game, I was like, I don't know if I can keep playing this. And then I finished it in one sitting. I just kept going and going and going and going. And I was like, this is fucking great. All of a sudden, it was like, this is the best. Like
this
hacking.
is now clicking for me. It's working. What the hell's going on?
I got a trinket where I could fucking hack turrets from the entire other side of the fucking level. And I was like, and it just started shooting everyone for me. Or like, you go to a party, and I was like, okay, I'm going to sneak through this party to find the guy. To like, I was doing a lead to figure out how to make, because the guy's done something really clever where everybody at the party's wearing the same mask, so you don't know who he is. And it's like, there's a thing you can do to make him identify himself. And I was like, I'm going to sneak through and I'm going to figure this out. This is what I'm going to do for this day and time period. I got 3 steps into the party and this guy just walked around the corner and was like, it's cold. And literally like 100 guys just suddenly was like, kill him, kill him. I was like, oh shit. So I ran hid in the cupboard. No joke. I killed everybody at the party. I killed like 100 people in this cupboard, and I'd run out and grab all their ammo, and then I'd run back in as like 10 more people came around. And I killed the guy, and I got his slab and stuff, and I was like, well, that was interesting, but now I'm gonna have to do it again, but stealthily. And like, I feel like that's one of the core appeals of Deathloop, where you could talk to people about the game, right? And they're gonna have tons of stories like the ones I just told you, or it's like something weird happened, something funny happened, something bonkers happened, like, and it's just that kind of game where it's just like you have a story. You have so many different little stories of like this cool thing that happened while I was playing Deathloop. Like and there's a side quest in there where you've got to get a voice recording to the AI robot, and like, okay, because Moody's not going to play it, I'm going to spoil it here. So if you haven't played Deathloop, thanks for watching this review. See you later. Like, the voice recording is this doll that the guy's made, and it's like a message for another character in the game, right?
Yes.
And you pick it up, and the message goes off. And it doesn't stop. So you've got to carry this doll through the level, past loads of enemies, with a talking doll. That just keeps going, and the message keeps repeating. So you're just running through, and all the enemies obviously know where you are because you've got this talking doll in your hand. And Cole's just like getting really pissed off of it, and it's one of the funniest quests I've done in a video game for a while. Like, it made me laugh so much. It was great. And then you get to the robot who just talks shit on you. Like, he throws some shade at Cole. It's so good.
Fantastic. Final thoughts, Amy?
It's great. Like, as much as it exasperated me in the first few hours, just because of it, like again, it's just, it wasn't me going, oh, the game's bad in the first few hours, but it picks up. It was, I just had a weird experience with the game for a few hours, like that. Not many people are going to have that kind of experience with Deathloop. I just happened to. But honestly, I think it made me love the game more because it's just like, I have a story to tell about it now. And I loved it. Like, I thought it's a great game. Like, if you love arcane games, especially if you love the Dishonored series, like, it's a phenomenal game. Like, it's not just Dishonored with guns, though. Like, it does a lot of cool things. It does a lot of its own things. It pulls inspiration from like a bunch of different like games that you wouldn't expect, like Dark Souls, like the invasions in Dark Souls. Like, it pulls inspiration for that into the game, into its own game, and does a cool thing with it. Like, there's all sorts of cool little sort of things it does beyond just being Dishonored with guns. And it's a real like one of the first things I text Moody was, yeah, Deathloop is rad. So there you go. There's my final thought. This game is rad. Like, pick it up. It's good. It's good times.
Fantastic. Something for the Xboxes to look forward to next year, probably.
Xbox's best game of the year, exclusive to PlayStation.
That is it for the review of Deathloop. Let us know what you think of the game. Did you like it? Is it in the middle for you, or is it something just didn't work for you? Leave a comment down below, as it is that time for us to get the hell out of here and go out and play some more video games for us eventually to review them late. Because we are the Fashion Relate Review Show, and it's time for us to say bye, Amy. So bye, Amy.
Bye, Moody.